Welcome, everybody. This is General Microsoft 365 Development Special Interest Group. It is the bi-weekly sync, November 12th. Holiday season is coming really fast, which is kind of cool. Hopefully, everybody has some time to get some rest and all of that as well. Now, today we have a busy agenda. We'll try to do all of the summaries on the open source projects and all of that stuff in 15 minutes, and then we move into the demo section. We have our Microsoft list formatting god, Chris Kent. Is that a right way of defining Chris? Probably yes. Starting, and then we have Nidhi doing an introduction on the new employee training Microsoft Teams app template. It's not actually quite yet available. It's coming pretty soon, but it's good to have a preview on that. And then, as a last but not definitely the least, Manoj Mittal is going to actually show off a really cool Microsoft Teams Hackathon 2020 solution, which was one of the winners over there. So 2 topics on the Microsoft Teams and 1 around the Microsoft list formatting. Now, before we go to the actual content, quick recap on the opportunities to participate with the community. We definitely welcome everybody to come and join on this course and do live demos. So please reach out to me or any of the PnP crew members, and we'll get you scheduled. Learning from other people's demos and solutions and learnings is really the great way of actually improving your skills. And because every single time I'm watching these demos, I'm learning new stuff as well. So these are really good. You can always contribute in a GitHub, either in the docs or in the samples. Those are more than welcome. And the most important thing is to provide feedback. The whole community, open source, all of this stuff exists for your benefit. So if there's something which doesn't provide, or if something is missing, or we should do better, please give us feedback, and also positive feedback is always welcome. Now, quick recap on the different assets. We're not going to spend too much time on this one, but we have 2 different YouTube channels due to historical reasons mainly. We have a lot of open source stuff available. We have sample galleries for Microsoft Teams samples and SPFX samples and all of that stuff. By the way, there will be a really cool unified sample gallery sooner or later, and we're working on that one already. A lot of URLs. The final URL to remember, AKMS M365 PnP, the one location to actually get moving from there. And quick recap on the sample gallery. So we do have a Microsoft Teams sample gallery. There's more and more samples on this one every single week. We will go through the latest samples slightly later on the presentation. Just to recap, if you're looking into starting on developing anything on Microsoft Teams, go to the AKMS Teams samples, and you'll find existing samples, like all of the Microsoft Teams app templates are listed there, all of the community contributions, stuff which is coming from Microsoft and all stuff. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get started on the Microsoft Teams development. Now, quick recap on our AKMS Sharing is Caring initiative. So David will do this one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vesa. All right, friends, for those that are new to the community, we are a completely open source community, which means that all of our resources and tools are available to you for free, but we also provide hands-on guidance sessions. This includes starting to use some of the new resources and tools that you may be finding, as well as contributing back. A lot of times these come with certain hurdles or fear of some of the new technologies, things like GitHub, maybe that's foreign to you. These sessions provide live hands-on guidance opportunities for you to learn. Together, will we walk you through the different steps required to do so. Completely safe space. They're not recorded. They're great opportunities to ask questions, get to know the opportunities that you have to contribute. Beginning with the first-time contributor session, we have one next week on November 16th. And December date's coming soon. They build upon one another, so Hugo and I provide you all that you need to get started and continue to learn into things like community docs. And you don't have to be a developer, by the way. A lot of these provide you that guidance that is valuable to you, whether you're a developer or a non-developer, including how to get started with using some of the SPFX sample. We also have a multi-day session coming up likely in the beginning of December that's going to cover a few different topics, like setting up your dev station, using the CLI for Microsoft 365, and upgrading samples. So really is a progressive path. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hugo and I try to be very hands-on with you and provide continued opportunities. So we invite you to register, all completely free, aka.ms, sharing is caring. So we look forward to seeing you. It's been really popular. So please come join us in a session. Vesa, back to you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Yeah, the last session got a lot of positive feedback in social media as well. So great job, David and Hugo, on that one. So please join on them. Great opportunity to learn new stuff. Now, let's actually jump on Bert's table. Well, not on your table, but your microphone.
Well, you can try to jump on my table. It's pretty long distance, but
yeah, I can try.
If you don't try, you don't know. So Just kind of a quick reminder, PnP Core SDK is our brand new SDK that has been in preview 3. PnP/Core SDK is the place to go. I'll talk about actual changes in a second. PnP Framework is there as well. Again, still in preview. PnP Framework is actually PnP SiteScore, the good old SiteScore library, but then this one is ready for .NET Standard 2.0, works on cross-platform on .NET, and is SPO only. So that's our way forward for PnP SiteScore is PnP Framework. Right, now what has changed in all those libraries? Because we have 3 libraries now, PnP SiteScore, PnP Framework, and PnP Core SDK. In the PnP Framework, PnP SiteScore side, we actually merged like 15 PRs, so quite a lot of PRs have been merged, so that's good. One new thing to call out in PnP Framework is the on behalf of authentication flow. So if you want to use PnP Framework, for example, in Azure function, and you want to take the identity of the one calling the function to go back to SharePoint, this on behalf of flow support makes it quite handy for you. For the PnP Core SDK, which is our new SDK, the main thing that we actually added in the last period is support for modern pages. It's like, let's say 90% baked, so still 10% coming up. So more unit tests are coming, the multilingual features are still being added, but it is getting in a good state. So within the next 2 weeks, we'll finish the Pages API and you have a fully functioning Pages API there. Looking forward for that one, we shifted a little bit our timeline. So we plan to this month, we'll move it to next month. So everything is kind of shifting like 1 month further along. The good thing is that we have some new features like the Pages API being already available in this in beta 1 at that point.
And let's move to the PnP Publisher side and a quick recap on what's happening on that side as well.
Yeah, PowerShell side, a bit of similar story. In the classic PowerShell, we merged some PRs. We didn't release due to some constraints. We couldn't release a version this month, but we promised to catch up as soon as possible there. Now for the new PowerShell, the cross-platform PowerShell, that one will have a nightly release. So you can always grab the latest version. So if you do a change today, tomorrow you can grab that change and start playing around with that. So. And in there, I think Planner is one of the key aspects that we worked on with some new commandlets over there.
Excellent. And then jump on the modernization tooling.
On the modernization tooling, just a quick recap. The key thing in modernization is being able to transform your classic pages into modern pages. And we see a ton of usage in that one. And it keeps on growing. More and more companies are doing that. So we crossed the 1 billion modernized pages already a long time ago now. So I should probably update that number. But yeah, it's something that really is useful for your organization. So give it a try. Second thing is the Modernization Scanner, helping you to detect classic elements in your site, like classic workflows, for example. So if you need that, just give it a try. It should be fairly straightforward to use. Nothing really has changed for both products because they're kind of feature complete, but if there is feedback, just let me know.
Excellent. And just to recap, we want to go to the modern SharePoint, modern SharePoint, modern SharePoint, modern SharePoint. So please use this tooling and start using modern experiences if possible. Now, the next we'll jump into the Teams, and I saw that Victor is in the call as well. So let's actually let Victor to talk in a second.
Yes. Hello, everyone in the autumn darkness. At least it's here in Sweden. It's even cold today. So last week or a week and a half ago, we released version 2.16. Quite some big updates in it. First of all, the schema support 1.7, 1.8. But most importantly, I think, was some great contributions from the community, including Microsoft, both from the TypeScript side and the Fluent UI teams. So great stuff there. A lot of long-awaited features from feature requests as well should be in there. Next, we're looking into what we can do with regards to integration to the Teams toolkit, but also some other request features such as React hooks and a faster build pipeline. So go out there and build some Teams apps.
And that was really fast. So, and just to clarify, so Yo Teams is and Microsoft Teams
at the same time. So try.
Yeah, okay. And just to clarify the positioning as well. So there is a Microsoft Teams toolkit and there's Yo Teams. Can you, Victor, explain what's the difference between these? And
I'll do that. So the Teams toolkit is the tool created by Microsoft for creating Teams apps. It comes in 2 flavors, one for VS Code and one for Visual Studio. it has, I would say it's sort of an integration of the App Studio into VS Code or Visual Studio. So the big difference is there that you have more a wizard-like interface. Then you create the JavaScript app for using VS Code, or a .NET-based application for if you use Visual Studio. We're using the same kind of schema and everything around that, and that's how we're looking to how we can integrate them. So you can either scaffold a project using Teams Toolkit or Yo Teams, but it's up to you to choose what tools you want to have, so to say.
Excellent. So they're not competing; they're complementing. No. Yes, so exactly. Just to be super clear on that one.
Like everything in the developer world, you have different ways of doing stuff, right? So use the tool that fits your style of coding and writing, etc.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victor, on that one. And then we'll move into a quick recap on the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. And Beth is on the call for doing a quick update on that.
Thank you. We just released 2.0 Preview 4 last week. Some of the big features that's added since Preview 3 are the localization helper, right-to-left support, added more dark themes, and we fixed a whole bunch of bugs. And also there are quite a few community contributions, so we wanted to call out everybody on the screen. There are also quite a few new getting started guide or what's it called, blog posts. This is so early. I keep like forgetting my words, what I wanted to say. Anyways, English is hard. There's quite a few new contents out there that you could check out and follow the step-by-step guides to learn how to build some of the samples that we prepared. Last thing I wanted to say is we're doing a workshop next Tuesday and Wednesday. It is actually open to public. These things used to be locked down for ISVs only. So if you wanted to join us to learn more about not just Graph, it's a combination of Windows Surface, Graph, and M365 technologies. We're also going to build a cool demo the second day, live coding 90 minutes. And you can read more about this event later. Thank you, Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth. And sorry for the morning times. I know that it's hard.
No, it's not your fault. I'm mostly complaining because it's hard to wake up.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Beth, on that one. And then a quick recap on the Microsoft Teams samples. So like mentioned already when we started, we have a specific gallery for Microsoft Teams samples, AKMS Teams samples. And there's two new samples, really cool samples now available, which is the search-based GitHub app with Microsoft Teams Toolkit. So implemented using Microsoft Teams Toolkit. And that shows really how to integrate with GitHub. We understand that there's a native capability on that one already in Microsoft Teams, but it's basically demonstrating how to implement similar kind of thing as the native capability in Microsoft Teams. And then the second implementation is the Me experience as a personal application built with SPFX, because SharePoint Framework gives you the automatic hosting. You can really easily build experiences with SharePoint Framework targeted for Microsoft Teams. So it's not just about SharePoint, certainly in this case. And there's a Me experience is a really cool multi-web part solution, which actually is using Microsoft Graph Toolkit then to surface my task and my upcoming events and all of that stuff. So really cool sample from Rabia as well. Now, the next we'll have a quick picture time. So let's actually do, for those who are willing to do this, I'm going to flip again together mode, and then we'll have a one picture mode. And I'm going to put this one in the screen. And you can then see how many people we are getting on the screen. And I think there's the 50. Oh, there's the SharePoint monkeys in the room again. So that's good to see, right next to Victor. Victor, don't watch on the right side. So I think we're hitting the 50 limit. And I'm going to take some, everybody waves and hands. Excellent. And if anybody is wondering, the reason I've been thinking this through, the reason why my face is so badly is because actually I'm sending now multiple streams, multiple dimensions. That's probably the reason. It's just bandwidth issue. So all good. I think that's a one more time. Wave, smile. Excellent. Cool. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Good to see the faces, like that. Small thing and really fast thing every single week, but it has a big impact to actually see real faces and real people. Big thingy for sure. I will paste in some pictures on the chat window during the demos, but the next we will go to the, what was it? What did I call you, Chris? You were list formatting god. Was it
sure. Yeah, let's share the screen here.
So we'll start with Chris, then we'll go to the Nidhi related on the new employee training Microsoft Teams app template, and then Manoj Mittal at the last. And we'll try to keep the 15-minute spots for everybody. But Chris, take it away.
All right, I'm Chris. Let's do it. All right. So we're going to take a look at our classic warrior horses site. Now, the warrior horses have put together a list to commemorate the great horse families that about through time. So if we go check that out, right, it's a pretty basic list. They've got the name of the family and they've got the history here, right? Now, we can make that look a lot better, so let's do that. So let's come in here. I've already applied a format that includes a tile props. So if I go to tiles here, now I've got these nice horse crests, beautiful stuff, right? So that looks cool. And here's a nice tip as well. You notice there's a little star now on all items. So if I were to actually save this view, so I'm just going to hit save on the same one. Now the tiles view or the gallery view is the default. All right, so when I visit this list, this is what I'm going to see instead of that kind of list view and making someone switch to this nice format I've got. All right, well, let's take a look at this format because there's a couple of issues here and we're going to address. So these are some pseudo-advanced scenarios that do come up quite a bit, especially with our samples or when you're trying to do certain things. So let's take a look at the first kind of set of problems, and that's with theming, right? You see here I've got a nice brown that matches the site brown, but if I go to change that look, and I go to theme and I pick, let's say, the classic teal, and it's still stuck with that brown, right? Because I've hard-coded that color in a couple of spots. But you'll see it even more when I switch over to like one of the dark themes, like dark yellow. You'll see that the two shield icons, because I use the appropriate classes, those switch just fine, right? The text here switch just fine, but my box shadow, this is an SVG element, that's brown. This underline, for which is a border, is also brown. Not great, right? So let's take a look. How can we address that? So we'll switch it to teal for this portion here, just so we can see it in action. So if we go in here and we format the current view, I'll make this as big as I can. One of the things you'll notice here is we've got this nice distinction here with layout. So they've actually taken my tile props and broken them out, even though I pasted a real sample directly from the sample repo. Right, they broke it out now between list and the gallery view, which is nice. I don't have to necessarily manage that. In fact, there's a nice design mode. I'm going to go ahead and switch it here. You see there's a card designer. There's some really, really cool stuff. Check that out. Go play with that. But for this particular piece here, let's go ahead and paste that sample back in. All right, let's preview that so we can see it. All right. What I wanted to take a look at here is these colors, right? How can we make these work? Because traditionally, we don't necessarily have classes that allow us to do that with the theme colors. Let's start with that box shadow, right? So a box shadow, right, you specify all of these properties here, and then you've got your color at the end. Now, I happen to take the color of brown that I use all over the horse site, which makes sense on the horse site, but when someone else decides they also want to commemorate the great horse families on a non-horse themed site, it doesn't look quite so good. Right, so how can we do that, right? There's no special theme piece I could put in here. Now, if I pull that off, right, so if I just remove that, and we preview that, right, you'll see that now it's kind of the default kind of gray, which is okay, but if I really wanted that to be that brown color, right? Instead of doing that, I can actually add. So if you take away, we'll just do this. We'll add attributes. And we'll do this guy right here. So we're going to add a class. In this case, we're going to add the class of MS font color. Right? We're going to say theme primary. Right. So if we preview that, you'll notice that if you do not specify a color as part of box shadow, it'll pick up on whatever the text color is here, right? So in this case, we do have a way to set that to a theme color. So by doing that, now we have a box shadow that's theme, sensitive. In fact, let's take a look at that in just a minute at a time. Right, so that's really cool. So that's a neat trick. We're going to do some similar stuff here, right? So that's how we handle box shadow colors. But what about this border underneath here, right? So if we go down here, all the way down where we've got our title here, so we just got, that's the formatter. All right, we just got this div here, the text content's just that title. Right, and we've got this border bottom. where again, we're doing that same brown color here. All right, and this is okay. But what if we, want to specify that color as well? Well, you can't do that as part of this kind of border property here. So what we can do is we can specify that out separately, right? So one of the things we can do is we can add, if we added just like before, we're going to add the same kind of thing. We're going to add that attributes. Ooh. Oh, I can't space it over. We'll just do it manually. There we go. Make it look pretty. All right. Now we're just going to take what we wrote before, which is adding this instead of font color, though, right? We have this nice border color. So that seems like that should work, right? We'll preview that. It didn't work, right? It's still that brown. So let's take the color out, just like we did with the box shadow. And if we preview that, still no good. In fact, now it's kind of that default black. It's a little hard with the brown and the black. So what we need to do is we actually need to break this out into separate properties. So if we go bottom style, we'll set that to solid. And then we'll set that bigger so we can see it. And we go border bottom width. All right, so we can set these properties individually. We can say 2 pixels. All right, and then we don't put a comma on there, and we preview that. There we go. Look at that. So by not specifying, not using that kind of a roll-up CSS property of border, or border bottom in this case, right, we were able to specify the color by doing it through the class. Now, what if, I don't really like that, right? What if I want that to only show up on hover? Well, we can actually do this nice thing where you go dash, dash, hover. All right, let's preview that. And let's take away, and then we say the MS border color is normally, right? We're going to say white. All right, so there we go. Now when we hover over it, ooh, I got a fancy hover, right? So which works nice with my hover card there. All right, so that's pretty cool. So again, another way to kind of take advantage of those theme colors. Now, what about this SVG element? All right, so if we go down here, right, or up here, actually, I should say, we got our SVG element. Where all that exciting stuff with the horse, right? Traditionally, you do that with a fill. And again, I've put that in here. All right, so can we do something, fancy? Yes, is the answer. So let's take a look, right? So if we take this, you could set fill to red, right? And that would work as well, right? But if I want that to be theme sensitive, let's try and paste one of those classes in here as well. All right, let's bring it over. And this is just for my own. You don't need to format it properly, but I like to. Okay. We've got our class. So we see a font color theme primary, right? So that seems like that would work, right? That nice teal. So let's preview that. Oh, we've got to fill in here with red. So let's take fill out entirely. Sorry, Phil. All right, preview that. It doesn't work, right? It did not pick up on that. So this one has a slightly different trick, right? So if we paste fill back in, we actually have to put a little piece in here. We go so fill, and we say current color. And we say current color and preview that. Bam! Now it's going to pick up on whatever the font color is, right? So now we have our nice horse crest, and they're all theme sensitive. So I'm going to save that, and let's take a look here. So if we switch back between the themes, all right, we'll change the look. Go to theme. If we go to our horse, we've got our nice browns are all working, right? And we've got all the teal, right? We've got the green. Even if we go to dark yellow, right, you'll notice everything now is theme sensitive. Awesome. That's really cool. So that's several techniques for that. And then I've got one more little trick here. All right, so let's not do this dark yellow, wherever this is. We'll go back to teal just for fun. Let's say we're going to get out of here. Now, what about, this is okay. We've got our custom card props, right, sitting there on that title, which is cool, right? And it shows this nice thing, and that's awesome that we can do that. But what if we wanted to show it for the whole thing? All right, so let's adjust where we put that. So if we go in here and we're going to format that current view, let's scroll down to where those custom card props are. So we accomplish custom card props by specifying this element here. All right, we open on hover. We want that little beak, which is that little triangle. All right, and then we've got our own little formatter where we can put whatever we want in there. In this case, we've just put a box and we put the history in it. All right, but we want that to show up on everything. So what if we took, our custom card props here, and we're just going to cut them, right? Because you can specify those on any element. Come up here and we say, why don't we put that on the root element, right? So here we've got our root element, which is probably that one. Let's see. Yeah, this is this one, right? So we put a comma, we paste it in here. So I'm not going to bother fixing that, right? But if we preview that, it should work on the whole thing, right? It doesn't. So here's a strange quirk with custom card props. if you have any children inside your element, custom card props will be ignored entirely, right? Which can be really frustrating. So you might be tempted to put, just copy paste this custom card props on, on the shield, on this, or if you've got lots of elements, right? So say you've got an icon and text, you're trying to use that as a button for a hover, right? That quickly gets very, very frustrating. So here's a little trick we're going to show you. And that's the idea that instead of doing that, let's undo that. All right, let's, there we go, get rid of that. We'll get an extra comma there. All right, so now we don't have our custom card props, but if we have this root element here, right, and we set the position of it to relative, we can go down into its children. So its children, right, we go down here and we can add another child. So right here, add one. And this one, we're just going to add basically a dummy element, right? So let's do this. And let's say, all right, elm type. And we're going to say it's a div because we don't really care, right? And the only thing we really care about here is we're going to put those custom card props in there. Right, but in order to make that work, we need some styles. Because we don't want just an extra box at the bottom, right? So style, let's add that here. And in this case, we're going to set its position to absolute, which means we just want it to be over top of everything, right? But in order to do that, we're going to set its top to 0. We're going to set its left to 0. And we're going to set its right 0. And I bet you can guess what we're going to set the bottom to. That's right, 0. Bam, right? So we do that, and if we preview that, aha! Now we put this element that we've put as 0, 0, 0, 0 all around it, so it's hovered over. There's nothing inside of it, right? But it's hovered over the whole thing. So now we can put that hover card over all of the card, which is really cool. So again, if you've got an icon, you got text, you've got something a little more complex than a single element, this is the kind of technique you use. Wrap them up in a relative container and then stick them next to each other right here like that. Again, check out the sample to see how that all worked. All right, so there we go. Very exciting. Let's take a look at a review, and then I'll hand this over to someone else. All right, so theming tricks, that box shadow. Remove that color from the property, and then you can use those theme colors for font color as needed, right? So there's theme primary, theme secondary, ordinary, tertiary. There's a whole bunch of them. You can check those out on the UI Fluent site, or Fluent UI site. All right, for SVG fills, like we talked about, you got to use this current color for the fill, and then it'll automatically pick up on the font color. All right, and same with border color. Split those out from the simple border property into border width and border style, and then you could then use those border colors with the theme colors. And then last, like we talked about, custom card props ignored when children are present. So again, use our little technique there to position a dummy element over everything you want that hover card to work on. All right, and finally, be sure to check out the full documentation. This sample is available called Horse Crests. Check that out. It has both the sample before and the sample after with details on the little advanced tricks I did there. Okay, that's all I got. Thanks, everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. It's just amazing to see you edit those pages and the layouts. One question, actually, was it Joshua who asked, just to clarify that as well, will these work in a list formatting web part or list web part if you apply them to the list?
It does. And in fact, if you specify that, so the tiles, again, if you save that as the default, that's also going to work for your web part. The hover cards and all of those and the theming styles will all work as well. And in fact, if we come in this with Microsoft lists, all right, instead of I came directly to the SharePoint site, which you can see I'm picking up the SharePoint theme, these theme colors will then take up those Microsoft list theme, which is going to have that purple and some other look to it too. So it allows your format to be super flexible as you copy it among sites or use it inside list or inside SharePoint or even bring it over into Teams.
Exactly, inside team as well, because there was a question related on that one. So basically inside of the teams, it's the same implementation which works in the Microsoft lists, inside of the Microsoft Teams or in a SharePoint list or in a web part. So all of that works flexibly without any issues. Anyway, thank you, Chris, on that one. Really cool stuff. And it's like I said, it's awesome to see how you know exactly what you're doing on the attributes and everything else. It's just amazing. But yeah, yes. But let's jump on Nidhi's demo. So we're going to actually, there's going to be an introduction to a completely new Microsoft Teams app template, which nobody has seen before except internally. Right, Nidhi?
Yes, that is correct. Yes. So this is very
Exciting.
new, very fresh. Let me just share my screen and we can get started. So,
excellent.
All right. This one is a new app template that Microsoft Teams is releasing. It's called Employee Trainings. It essentially helps out all of the enterprises with managing all of these training events across the whole enterprise. This is an app template. So app templates are open source production ready code that Microsoft Engineering ships. We have a huge catalog of them. What we usually do is that we do common business line scenarios and see if there is a demand across customers and publish that code on GitHub, free to use, free for you to make it your own and start developing with it, start using it in whichever way you want to customize it, so that you don't have to do that building from scratch for any of these common business line scenarios. So there's a huge catalog. The link is here. I've also posted it in the meeting chat. So this one in particular enables your corporate workforce to manage events. So there are a lot of learning apps out there which actually help you with creating playlists. SharePoint is also great for actually using just lists for creation of playlists for different kinds of learning. But this is more focused towards managing those events, like by capacity, and by setting reminders, managing registrations, and also allowing the users to express their interest, the trainings that they are interested in, and then also see what their peers are doing so that they can get some inspiration. Like people in my team are doing this healthy remote work training. So I'm more encouraged to actually pursue that. And it creates this really collaborative, wonderful space for managing and sharing, searching for all of these employee trainings. So it can be used very across industries. So I'm going to move to the demo, but before that, just a quick note on the personas. So since it is for employee trainings, first one is the host, event host or a trainer. The trainer could be internal or external. Right now we are focused on internal trainer, but you can also add guest users and make them trainers. This trainer, usually these are very common problems that they want to make learners feel welcome. They want to manage all of these events. They want to remind people to register. If the capacity is hit for that particular event, like a class or a training session only can have 20 people for an effective discussion, you can manage all of that as a trainer. And then on an event attendee side, the really big ask is to actually find out what is going on in my company, what is going on in the training state, as per the interest I have, so that I can find that and then register for those events and show that I'm actually learning new things. Another important ask here is also to be able to search and share these learnings, which are part of this app. So with that, moving to the demo. So I had logged in before. So I've logged in as an end user, so like an employee accessing the employee training app. And I've just named it as user so that it's crystal clear that this is the user side of things. And then we have a team here created already for employee training demo. And in this team, I went and installed the app. So this is just like how app templates work. I had opened that link as well. So there's a huge catalog here. And just like any other app template, this one will also go in as a custom app, like an LOB app in your app. So if I go back, this will be available in your build for your company once you deploy it. It's really easy steps to deploy as well before we get into the demo. So it has all these persona guidance, what each and every field means. We have all of this in documentation. It has a really good documentation guide as well that you can utilize and know more about the technical details that are required to actually deploy this app. So from an admin side of things or a learning team type side of things, let me just go back. Let me minimize this. So I am here right now. I just installed this app, but I played around with it quite a bit. So you can see a lot of notifications. But essentially what you do get is a welcome card as soon as the app is installed in this team. And then it can actually trigger this action, which is the most important action for any learning team, which is to manage these events. So if I click on add event, I should be redirected to this task module, which can help me to add an event right from the bot. So my whole team can actually get notified once that event is created, and I don't need to inform like everybody else to coordinate on this particular event. They can just start a chat here. I can also go to this tab that I can pin as an admin or a learning coordinator in this team. And then once I've done that, I have these 3 essential stages. Any kind of events that I have created but not sent out to people are in drafts. Active ones are the ones that are scheduled, events have been, invitations have been sent out. And then there is the completed cancelled one, which is essentially that. So let's go to the first event creation. So I'm gonna use, so I'm gonna use like this event, apps and team meetings. So this is a new feature that has been released in Teams, and I want to train the champion group in my company to be able to utilize like apps and teams and learn more about it and teach others on my team. So I can upload an image here, so it can like go to my library and I can upload an image, but I prefer the color. So I'm just gonna do this, and this is going to show me a little preview. I've already entered the event name. There can be 3 types of events. In person is essentially something that is not happening in COVID-19. It's essentially when you book a meeting room inside your office to have an in-person event. Teams is a Teams meeting invite, like a standard Teams meeting invite on our calendar. And live event is another type of invite that you can create in Teams meetings. Live event can have up to 1,000 people. Teams meetings currently can have up to 350 people. It's soon getting extended, like this limit keeps on increasing. And then in-person events, you can manage the capacity as per your office space. Categories, again, as an admin, you can configure these categories so you can keep on adding them if you want to create a category. But essentially, if you've already created them, you can categorize this event. Let me choose. So I had actually created a live event. So one difference between live event and Teams event that I would like to highlight is that if you choose Teams, the meeting invite is automatically created. But if you choose live event, right now we don't have a programmatic way of creating that meeting invite. So you need to paste a URL, which is why I was saying that I have already created an event. So I just created this one. So let me copy the link because this is a live event. I want a lot of people to join. So I have done this as a URL. I can do description. I'm just going to copy paste this in my description. And then you can see it's Markdown Unicode is also supported, so you can have like a bit of formatting as well in the invite. Time zone I have selected, and this means that I will need to replicate that. So I'm just going to go with this time, so Tuesday, and then say like 10 to, yeah, so the default it is. You can also set the default for a meeting. I'm just going to go with this one. And then maximum number of participants is irrelevant here, but not irrelevant. Like if you wanted to constrain the event participants for this particular event, you can do that. So you can put like 20, and what that would do, I will show you in a minute, that it will basically close the registration after 20. So although the live event can support like a lot of people, your participation for this event will be limited to 20. And then we can go to the next. I think, yeah, I've not selected it. So this is a technical training. Okay, so then this is super cool, which is that you can make this event public so that anybody in the org can see it, or you can make this event private. So let's go with private on this one. And then you can start typing the name of a group. So like, let's say remote, I'm just gonna push it to the remote support dev team. We support distribution list, STs, and teams. So you can search for either or just like the name of person. Like, I'm not remembering any name. Oh yeah, this one. So So like I can also add the name of the person, or I can just add like remote support dev. I can also add like one more thing. Let me add another guy, like just for funsies. And I can make this training mandatory for this group. Like one group, it can be made mandatory and the other group is not. So this is also something that we can do. And then when we go to next, this is a little nice preview of how this invitation is going to look like. The beauty of this is that all of this information, once it's sent out to everybody, is available there, right there in the meeting invite. And then I can see as an event administrator that these are all of my active ones. I can take some actions on it as well. Like if I didn't want to do all of these invitation, I want to take some time, I can save it as a draft. And then if I go to my drafts, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I finished all the drafts. So basically you can do all of these actions in the 3-dot menu. You can also send reminders to people. So by default, the app reminds 5 days before and 1 day before. So you will see these notifications popping up automatically in the people's invite calendar, wherever you've shared this invite. Otherwise, you can also remind them. So if before like that day you want to remind everybody, you can send a reminder. You can also export the registration data or close registration before the due date or cancel the event. So all of these actions are possible. Now let's go to the fun side. So this is the user view. This is again, as soon as the app is installed here, you will again get a welcome card. For a user, it's really important that they can actually discover and explore all of these really cool events that your company is scheduling. So I can actually go to discover, and then I can go to discover events tab. As you can see, I have 2 meetings that I have just created. Both of them are mandatory. This is not great for me, but the previous meeting that I created had 200 slots, so I registered as a participant. And then for this meeting that I just created, since it is mandatory, I could have chosen auto registration as well. So when I was making this mandatory, if you noticed, like if I go here and then go to edit event, yeah. So when I am going to this tab, I can also automatically register mandatory attendees, so that if this training is mandatory for these 2, they're automatically registered. But I just wanted to show you how registration works. So I'm going to click on registration here as an end user, and my end user's name is Cameron White. So it also sends me a notification in the app and on the email as well. So I will get like all of these details that there is a live event happening, and I can just directly save this that I'm going to be attending this. So this is really cool and something as a huge ask from our customers, so that the notifications actually flow to different channels. Now that I have done that, it will show that this event has been registered, so 1 registered participant here, and then available slots 19. If I click on it, I can again see all of the details. I can also cancel my registration if such a thing is allowed, like if I can still cancel. And then I can also see all of my events here. So the ones that I have mandatory appear separately so that I get focused attention there. And then all of the events appear here as a filtered list, where I can see all events that are happening in my company. I can also filter them as an admin or an end user. Both personas can filter the events. So you can either filter them by, say, category. So you will see the filter done to be like technical events. You can filter them also by newest. The coolest thing that I would like to also like pay a little bit more attention to is this popular in my network. So you can not only filter by newest, which was the newly created ones that got populated here in Discover tab, but you can also choose by popular in my network. So I don't know if this is going to be popular in my network. Oh, it is. OK, so this is also popular in my network because the people in my peer group have taken such a similar technical training. So you can also tweak with this algorithm here. We are right now using People API to customize it to have like that peer network built in, or that all of the members of the team, whatever training they're taking, we recommend trainings according to that. So that type of customizations you can do. And then if you see your events, you can again see the ones that you have registered for and the ones that you have already completed. So this is, I think, about it on the demo side of things. It's really cool. The app works in, let me go here. So the app works as a bot and with a tab in it. The app also works in team scope. So as I was showing you earlier here, I think this is a better example. So it is part of a team. So I can just go ahead and install it in all teams. As per permissions policy, I'll install it in one team. And then last but not the least, you can also do the search and share part. So just like search and share can be also done as a part of this scope. Documentation, everything I've shared. So thank you, Vesa.
But really cool stuff. Thank you for sharing the links in the chat window. We'll collect them from there. And the code was actually scheduled to get released on 20th of November or around about that. Okay, so Manoj, are we good? Are we ready to go?
Yep. Thanks, Vesa. I'm sharing my screen. Hey, thanks everyone. So I'm here to present one of the solutions. So we participated in the Microsoft Teams hackathon in the 2020 in the second quarter of this year, and we are one of the top 3 winners. So as a 2-member team, we built it, and for the 3 weeks challenge we took it. So I'm going to present that entire solutions here. So the subject was like the Microsoft Teams, the way of transforming the communications and how it's with a great workplace. So to start with, I'm Manoj Mittal, working as an architect and associated with Mindtree Limited. I have with me my co-worker.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Bharti Langan, working as a technical lead in Mindtree Limited.
This is the credentials what we have participated and we have received. So this is the place we received as a 3rd place as a Mindtree organizations in this hackathon solution. So moving forward, what problem statement we took for this hackathon? So it was like the real-time integration, how we can do from the between the ground and the sky. So that comes like what solutions you need to pick up. We have a lot of solutions exist in the market. The Slack is there. So we thought, okay, we have a Teams, and team has a lot of rich ecosystem around the M365. Why not take that one and build a solution around that one? So we choose MS Team. So I'm going to talk about how we solve the business problem with that one. So this is a very holistic view and divide the business problem into the 3 sections. And we consume most of the component which exist in the team, which we are going to customize. But the agenda is not to showcase how this tool we can use, but the agenda is how we can solve the business problem using that tool. So like just talking about here, the communication sections, how we define the process sections, how we define the personal section. So I'll just talk about more on that one and just showcase into the demo section how all these activity what we have defined. And this is specific to the airline industry. So as I have a persona, which is some few crew members on the sky as well as on the land, and they are having the teams on their any of the device, desktop, mobile, or tablet. So how they are going to talk and how we can solve their problems. So if you see here, we have defined the teams with the specific to the airlines that's having a journal channel. And this with the color coding, some is the out-of-box component which we use, and some we have built as a custom. So this, as we're talking about airline industry, the passengers, who is the special passengers, challenging passengers, quite important. So that we put it in the journal tab so anybody can see whether it's a ground or the crew members as per their grade. And then we have an admin section, and the admin section, who is the authorized persons, they can do the flight management, so they can change their schedule and see the reportings for this particular. And then we have escalation sections. That is again one different channel. So escalations like the person who's on the launch or in the airports or in the flight, he or she is not well. Somebody need to escalate her to the respective team so to take the actions. So for that purpose, the escalations. But component we have used as a MS Team extensions here. I will showcase those one. Processes one, on the ground member getting a lot of documents for doing their regular jobs. As they are talking with the food industries, they are talking with the invoicing. For that, they are getting a lot of invoices. How we can automate entire processes, right? So for that, we use the AI Builder component to solve this problem of the processes. And then last, with the personal. So if I am a crew member, how I can solve my personal problem, how I can check what's my schedule and swap between my co-worker who is available if I'm not well on the particular day. So let's go to the demo. I have a recorded 6 to 7 minutes demo. I will quickly run it. So this is my fictitious flight Osmosis, which our team we have created. Under that journal channel, so we have a special tabs we have created which have a special passengers and the challenging passengers. This is the SPFX component which we have built, taking the data from external API, dump into the SharePoint and designing the cards. here. So the crew member can select it here. Who is the special passenger in my flight is going accordingly. They can get the benefits, and who is the challenging passenger in the particular flight. They can filter and then get all the details which need a more attention. And second channels, I will move to the admin section. Here, admin sections we have where is the authorized persons is going to assign to that particular channel. The admin person having their own dashboard where they can click on the flight details. They will get listed down all the flights information. So we are going away from the email sections, and they will get the notification directly from there. If anything changed within a flight, it's for internal crew members. So once they select any particular flight, come back here, edit, and then change any of the status. It was delayed, now it's scheduled. Once they click on save, come back to the listings, and the real-time data is getting updated. And accordingly, the notification also come using the MS Flow to the particular post area of the particular channels. They will get the advantage for that. Again, we have a reporting and just a high-level reporting, not quite rich here, but just showing the view how the reporting is going to work. So we have a flights here. What flights is going to happen? What type of passengers they have? They will get a glimpse of on the very high level. This particular flight is having this number of challenging passengers, this number of the special passengers. So accordingly, the services can be taken care within the particular flights. So once we move out from this sections, now going to the escalation support. So this is again one of the channel which my crew member is having this particular support from the escalation. They will search any of the passengers from here. They will just check on their boarding pass, what's the name of the person, and search in our system. So those passengers, they will just figure out, okay, this is the name of the persons and PNR numbers, ticket numbers, and they will get more details. Again, it's coming as adaptive cards, and they will mark it to the @doctor or someone who need to take action more on top of that. And once that person will log in, they will get this card as a more detailed button is there. It has a deep linking to the different tabs. So what we have, so doctors can click on the more details, and he or she will get the more detail of the passengers, so what was his or her past medical history, and what's their address, and what flight they are going to take. So accordingly, they can take the more action. Now moving to the next section, if you see here, I logged in with a different users. I will pause it. I'll just log in with a different users. So this is not that user. So this user is going to just talk it about here. Okay, what's my weekly roster? So weekly roster, like what's my weekly schedule? So he or she will get the detail of their weekly plan, what the task is assigned to him or her, his or her. So they will get the detail once they click on the particular cards which is coming into the bot, and they will get the more detail of the particular card. What's their flight is going to start, what's the when the gate is going to open, what's the hour. And he or she feel he's not well, click on the swap button. So what the swap button will do, it will post the notification within our Teams using the MS Flow. So the request has posted successfully. When I log in with the different users again, then I will find in my post area the request has appeared. So I'm just moving to the different one. So I will get the request. It will appear here in just a couple of seconds. So here that particular user is a different user. He or she is going to accept that particular request. As he or she will accept, the task will assign to that particular person, and he or she will not get that particular task. So let's wait. Yep, it came here. So once the user say the accept swap request, then task is assigned to this particular person. So we can take this use case in a multiple way as a shift management happening in the organizations, and we need to switch the shift and assign to someone else accordingly. Also, that use case can come into the picture. If I go back again to that particular user who has raised the request, and we'll see what the weekly task assigned to his or her, that we will not get that particular task which he or she asked for the swap. So as we type here my weekly roster, what's my weekly plan? So see here the task has gone from that particular queue. So the task is not there. So let's there is another section if we need to search for the document, as this entire ecosystem we are using as a SharePoint as a backend. So we just use the carousel card for the search. If users need to search any relevant documents with there, they can get it from there. Another section is the beverages industry for the beverages point of view. So it's just going entire touch-free activity, whatever the beverages left within our planes or in my ground crew member, and they want to note it down, whatever the food has left over. So we have trained the system using AI Builder. So once we upload any particular image, so that image which we have taken via the mobile or which we have in system. For example, I took this image and that is a leftover component is available. So as soon as I upload, it will go to the models what we have defined into the AI builder, and within a minute we'll get the response back. So what is the count is available. So no need to note it down on the paper and hand it over and send an email. We'll just post into the channel itself, and the active team will get an idea what the food has left over, and accordingly they can plan their capacity for the next flights or their next journeys. Okay, the another section here is a private tab which we created. It's just a PnP control. We just took it from there and just deployed as per the need. And here in this worldwide news, we have configured the news as specific to the airline. So this control is quite configurable, available in PnP library. We just define, okay, this is news is specific to the PnP library to get the more feel. It's one common place everybody will get the response. So as I come back on the left beverages, when you see here, the responses came in the meantime. How many cans I have and what the count of the can will get here. And this is get stored into my file folder structures itself. And this is the invoice processing basically. So when I'm getting the emails from any of the vendor and I have defined some rules, and then based on the rules, the files is getting stored into the particular library. Once it's getting stored into the library, then we are getting the notification in the post section itself. And here I'm getting all the files which is getting stored. And then post sections, we are getting notification how many is processed invoices, how many is pending invoices. And again, having a button deep linking to the particular tab. Once I click it here, I will get, okay, these are the invoices which has already processed in the system, which we have done. We can get the more detail for that particular invoice. If I go to the pending, again, I will get how many invoices are pending, and we can search it, those one also. Yep. So, and at the meantime, once it's processed, so this is a data extraction. Again, it's a list. MS Flow is using what all the content has extracted using the AI builder and storing here all the defined what the trained we have done our model. So it will just taking and just dumping the data here. Yep. So that's all from my side for this demo. Hope you'll get the more business use case in this one. Yep. Thank you. And
excellent.
over to you.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you both for this one. This is really, 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 really awesome set of cool scenarios for airline operations. So basically, how to use the Microsoft 365 platform as the model or the host for the airline operations. So using bots and using Microsoft Teams and storage in SharePoint and surfacing data and file of that. So really, really cool stuff. So awesome work on that one. I think a lot of the people who are watching this video will be like, oh, that's really, really cool scenarios. Thank you, Manu. And thank you, Nidhi, and thank you, Chris, for the great demos. Like typically, we've been having the Q&A going on the side in the chat, so we should probably remove the Q&A in the end because we are allocating always time that we don't have that on. Recording will be available in 24 hours in the Microsoft 365 community YouTube channel, so AKMS M365 PnP. Please follow up us, M365 General Dev Call. The next one will be November 26th. It is Thanksgiving Eve in US, but because rest of the world is that day is a normal day, we kind of execute that normally. And the next SharePoint Framework Community Call is in November 19th, so a week from now. And there's a lot of other calls available as well, which you might be interested to check them out. They're all listed in M365 Dev Calls. But that's it for today. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you once again, Chris, Nidhi, and Manoj on the demos. But that's it for now. So thank you everybody for joining, and thank you everybody for being active on the community, and please keep the feedback coming, and we'll be definitely in touch. Bye-bye.